In modern urban society, people often judge others' wealth, status, and social value through trivial consumption behaviors. Luxury dining has become one of the most intuitive vanity symbols for the upper class. Many superficial people believe that those who dine in high-end Michelin restaurants, order expensive steak and caviar, and drink vintage red wine are elite and successful people. In contrast, customers who order simple, cheap food in luxury restaurants are labeled poor, low-class, and unworthy of stepping into high-end venues. Aurora Peak Restaurant is the only 7-star luxury Michelin-certified restaurant in Harbor City. It occupies the top floor of the city's tallest skyscraper, with a panoramic view of the entire urban coastline. It boasts top-tier private customized dining, world-class chef teams, private butler service, and ultra-luxury decoration. The per capita consumption here starts at $5,000 and premium customized feasts can easily exceed tens of thousands of dollars per table. It is the top dining holy land for local wealthy businessmen, celebrities, and social elites. For ordinary citizens, dining at Aurora Peak is an unattainable luxury. Even taking a photo at the restaurant entrance requires great courage, and no ordinary person dares to enter casually. The restaurant has always adhered to a high-end and exclusive positioning, and the inside staff are extremely arrogant and snobbish. They strictly distinguish between wealthy high-end customers and ordinary low-consumption guests, and often secretly ridicule and despise customers who cannot afford expensive dishes. What no one in Harbor City knows is that this top Michelin luxury restaurant, along with all the high-end 5-star restaurants, private club dining halls, and Michelin-certified catering chains in the entire city, belongs to a single hidden owner. All catering licenses, venue property rights, chef employment rights, and operating profits of Harbor City's high-end catering industry are monopolized by one person. No catering group or capital tycoon can shake the absolute control of this mysterious boss. My name is Lu Chen, and I am the sole controlling shareholder, founder, and absolute owner of all high-end catering industries in Harbor City. I personally invested billions of dollars to integrate the city's top dining resources, acquire all Michelin high-end restaurants, build luxury private catering clubs, and monopolize the entire high-end catering market of Harbor City. Aurora Peak Michelin Restaurant, the most prestigious top dining venue in the city, is my first and core flagship catering asset. Every chef, every service staff, every inch of the venue, and every catering qualification belongs 100% to my personal private assets. All the so-called top Michelin chefs and senior restaurant managers that the elites admire are just employees working for me. I have controlled the city's high-end catering industry for many years, and I am extremely tired of the hypocritical flattery of the upper class and the snobbish discrimination in the luxury catering circle. All the chefs and managers usually respect me only for my wealth and power, with no sincere respect at all. In order to experience the most authentic human nature and avoid the tedious utilitarian social interactions of the elite circle, I have been hiding my identity for a long time and living an extremely low-key, ordinary life. I usually wear cheap streetwear, drive an ordinary old sedan, and live in a mid-range residential community. I never take the initiative to expose my wealth and industry status, and no one around me knows my true identity as a catering tycoon. My colleagues, neighbors, and even casual acquaintances all think I am an ordinary office worker with a mediocre salary and an ordinary family background. I often visit my own luxury restaurants in casual clothes just to inspect the service attitude and staff quality of my venues. I have always warned myself that catering serves all customers, regardless of wealth and status, and every guest deserves equal respect. But I never expected that my low-key inspection would trigger the most ridiculous and ruthless humiliation from my own chef and staff. On a rainy weekday afternoon, after finishing my ordinary office work, I felt a little hungry and planned to have a casual meal at Aurora Peak Restaurant, my own flagship Michelin venue. I was tired of extravagant feasts, so I simply wanted a bowl of plain white rice to fill my stomach, which was simple and comfortable. This casual dining choice became the trigger for a series of snobbish ridicule and extreme humiliation. The top Michelin chef and restaurant manager who rely on my assets to earn high salaries actually publicly mocked me, belittled my status, and insulted my dignity just because I only ordered plain rice in the luxury restaurant. They never imagined that the humble, ordinary guest they despised was their supreme boss who controlled their careers and wealth. Hashtag the climax of humiliation, public ridicule, and arrogant insult in the top Michelin restaurant. The afternoon dining period of Aurora Peak Restaurant was relatively quiet. The luxurious and elegant dining hall was decorated with imported crystal chandeliers and high-end art paintings, with soft classical music flowing in the air. All the dining guests were well-dressed, wealthy elites and social celebrities, wearing brand-name suits and designer dresses, ordering expensive steak, lobster, caviar, and truffle feasts, showing off their superior status and taste. I walked into the restaurant alone in my usual plain gray casual clothes, white sneakers that had been worn for a long time, and no accessories or luxury items on my body. Compared with the well-dressed elite guests around me, I looked particularly out of place, like an ordinary passerby who strayed into a high-end venue by mistake. As soon as I entered the door, the welcoming waiter glanced at me up and down casually, and the disdain in his eyes was undisguised. He did not take the initiative to greet me respectfully like he did with other wealthy guests, but just pointed to the remote corner seat perfunctorily, with a cold and perfunctory attitude. I didn't care about his snobbish attitude. I walked quietly to the corner seat and sat down, then opened the simple paper menu and glanced at it casually. I had no appetite for those expensive and greasy luxury dishes, so I directly said to the waiter, "Just bring me a bowl of plain white rice. Thank you." As soon as my words fell, the entire surrounding dining area instantly fell into a strange silence. The waiter froze on the spot, staring at me with wide eyes, as if he had heard the most ridiculous thing in the world. The few nearby elite guests who were dining also stopped their conversations one after another and turned their eyes to me with astonishment and contempt on their faces. The waiter held back his laughter and asked in a mocking tone, "Sir, did you hear wrong? Our Aurora Peak is a 7-star Michelin luxury restaurant, the top high-end dining venue in Harbor City. We have premium steak, imported seafood, top truffle dishes, and vintage red wine. We don't have plain rice for ordinary meals, and we never serve such cheap and low-grade food." I frowned slightly and said calmly, "I know you have rice ingredients in the kitchen. I just want a bowl of plain rice. I'll pay the full dining fee according to the restaurant's rules." My calm response did not gain any respect, but attracted more intense ridicule. The waiter directly laughed out loud, completely ignoring the restaurant's service etiquette, and said sarcastically in a loud voice that attracted the surrounding guests, "You really know how to pick, coming to a tens of thousands of dollars luxury Michelin restaurant just to eat plain rice. Do you know how high the per capita consumption here is? Ordinary people like you can't even afford a cup of our premium coffee, yet you dare to come in and order plain rice to embarrass yourself. This is a high-end venue for celebrities and wealthy businessmen, not a roadside fast food restaurant for ordinary people to fill their stomachs. Your plain rice order is simply insulting our restaurant's grade and the chef's top cooking skills." The surrounding elite guests also burst into mocking whispers, looking at me like I was a bumpkin who had never seen the world. "This guy is really ridiculous. He must have secretly run in to take photos and pretend to be upper class, but he can't afford any expensive dishes, so he can only order plain rice. I've never seen such a low-class person, ruining the dining atmosphere of the top Michelin restaurant. People with no status and no money should stay away from high-end venues. It's really embarrassing to make a fool of yourself here." Faced with the surrounding ridicule, I still kept my patience. I originally just wanted a simple meal and didn't want to make a fuss. But soon, a tall, well-dressed, middle-aged man walked over quickly with a cold face. He was the head chef of Aurora Peak Restaurant, Chef Andre, a world-famous Michelin 3-star chief chef who was highly respected by the entire city's catering circle and wealthy class. Chef Andre usually serves customized feasts for top wealthy businessmen and international celebrities. He is extremely arrogant and conceited, and he has always looked down on simple and ordinary ingredients. He relies on his superb cooking skills and Michelin reputation to gain countless high-end customers and high salaries, and he is used to being flattered and respected by everyone. He walked up to me with a gloomy face, his eyes full of extreme disdain and contempt. He looked me up and down arrogantly, then said in a cold and harsh tone, without any politeness, "Young man, do you know where this is? This is the top Michelin luxury restaurant in Harbor City. I use the most premium imported ingredients, the most sophisticated cooking techniques, and spend hours crafting every dish. MY dishes are for the world's top elites and wealthy tycoons. You come to my high-end restaurant and order a bowl of plain white rice without any seasoning or craftsmanship. Are you deliberately mocking my cooking skills? Are you insulting my professional dignity as a Michelin chief chef?" I looked at him calmly and replied, "Dining is just to satisfy hunger. Food has no high or low grade. Plain rice can also fill the stomach. There is no insult. I just have a simple appetite today." No high or low grade? Chef Andre suddenly laughed angrily, his voice sharp and harsh, deliberately raising his voice to let all the guests hear clearly. "You poor and ignorant kid. You don't understand the grade of high-end catering at all. My ingredients are imported from all over the world, and a single ingredient costs more than your monthly salary. A bowl of plain rice that even roadside stalls disdain to sell is your only affordable food. You wear cheap clothes, have no luxurious temperament, and can't afford any of my signature dishes. You're not qualified to sit in my restaurant. People like you only deserve to eat cheap fast food on the street, not to set foot in a top Michelin high-end venue." At this time, the restaurant general manager also rushed over upon hearing the noise. He was even more snobbish and ruthless. He directly pointed at the door and said coldly and arrogantly, "Sir, our restaurant officially informs you that we refuse to serve you. Your consumption behavior is too low grade, which affects our high-end dining atmosphere and disturbs the dining experience of our elite guests. Please leave our venue immediately. We will never receive you again in our Aurora Peak restaurant for life. In addition, I will record your information in the industry blacklist of all high-end catering venues in Harbor City, so that no luxury restaurant in the whole city will dare to receive you. People like you, who can only afford plain rice, are not worthy of enjoying high-end catering services." These ruthless and insulting words completely angered me. I have always kept a low profile, never discriminated against any industry or ordinary people, and respected every employee and every customer of my catering venues. But my humility and low profile have become the capital for these snobbish employees to bully and humiliate me wantonly. Chef Andre, who relies on my restaurant platform to earn millions of annual salaries and gain a prestigious reputation, actually publicly insults my identity and tramples on my dignity. The restaurant manager who manages my assets actually dares to drive me out of my own venue and blacklist me in the entire industry. They enjoy the wealth and resources brought by my catering empire, but they are extremely snobbish and arrogant, disrespecting ordinary customers and judging people by consumption and clothing. This kind of ungrateful and arrogant behavior has completely touched my bottom line. Since they are so obsessed with catering grade and consumer status, so arrogant because of their trivial professional reputation, and so good at bullying low-key ordinary people, I will completely crush their false superiority and arrogant prejudice with absolute strength today. Let them know who is the real master of this restaurant and the entire city's catering industry, and make them pay a heavy price for their snobbery and ignorance. Hashtag explosive full identity reversal. The humiliated plain rice guest is the supreme catering tycoon. The smile on my face completely faded, and my originally gentle and calm aura instantly turned cold and domineering. A powerful pressure belonging to the top industry controller suddenly swept the entire luxurious dining hall, instantly suppressing all the noise, laughter, and discussion. The noisy dining hall fell dead silent in an instant. All the elite guests, Arrogant Chef Andre and snobbish manager were stunned on the spot, feeling the sudden terrifying pressure, and their hearts trembled involuntarily. I slowly stood up from the corner seat, my cold eyes sweeping over the pale Chef Andre and the stunned restaurant manager, and my deep and powerful voice resounded throughout the entire silent dining hall clearly. You say plain rice is low grade and unworthy of your high-end restaurant. You say I have no status and no qualification to dine here? You want to blacklist me from all high-end catering venues in the city. Chef Andre came back to his senses and immediately became arrogant again. He raised his chin high and sneered disdainfully. So what? You, a poor guy who can only order plain rice, are not worthy of refuting me. Get out of my restaurant immediately, or I will ask the security to drive you out roughly. The restaurant manager also echoed coldly. Don't waste your time talking nonsense. Leave immediately. From today on, you will never have the chance to step into any luxury restaurant in Harbor City. The surrounding elite guests also looked at me with mocking eyes, waiting for me to be driven out in embarrassment and become the biggest laughingstock of the day. Just as their arrogance and ridicule reached their peak, the restaurant's central control door was suddenly pushed open. A large group of senior executives in neat black formal suits rushed in quickly and respectfully. Walking at the front was the general person in charge of the entire Harbor City high-end catering group, Chin Foam, who is the highest-ranking manager of all my catering industries. President Chin usually manages dozens of high-end restaurants and catering clubs under my name. He holds supreme management power in the industry, and even Chef Andre and the Aurora Peak manager have to bow and flatter him respectfully when they meet him. Ordinary people have no chance to meet this top industry manager at all. All the guests and staff present were instantly stunned, staring at the sudden group of senior executives in shock, completely unable to understand what major event had happened in the restaurant. Before anyone could react, President Chin led all the senior catering executives to walk straight towards me at the fastest speed. In full view of all the stunned guests and staff, the usually dignified and aloof top industry leader bent his waist 90 degrees deeply, bowed respectfully, and shouted in a trembling and extremely reverent voice that resounded throughout the entire restaurant. Respected Boss Lou, all senior management staff of Harbor City High-End Catering Group are here to greet you. We are extremely guilty for the dereliction of duty of our venue staff, who dare to insult and humiliate you in your own private catering venue. We ask for your severe punishment. Boom. The entire 7-star Michelin restaurant completely exploded into earth-shaking uproar. All the elite dining guests, waiters, and kitchen staff were completely petrified on the spot, their brains blank, their bodies stiff, falling into unprecedented extreme shock and disbelief. The arrogant and domineering smile on Chef Andre's face froze rigidly. His legs went weak in an instant, and he collapsed heavily to the ground with a plop. His face turned pale as paper in an instant, cold sweat soaking through his entire chef uniform. The supreme Michelin chef reputation he was proud of, the superior professional status he showed off, all turned into the most ridiculous and ironic joke in an instant. The snobbish restaurant manager's whole body trembled violently, his eyes full of endless horror and despair. He just threatened to blacklist me from all high-end catering venues in the city, but he never dreamed that I was the supreme boss who owned all these catering venues. His so-called industry blacklist was just a trivial joke in front of my absolute control. All the surrounding elite guests who had mocked and looked down on me were stunned in place, their mouths wide open, completely unable to believe the scene in front of them. The ordinary guest who ordered plain rice and was ridiculed as low class was the behind-the-scenes tycoon who controlled the entire city's high-end catering industry. President Chin stood up straight, took out the highest level industry equity certification and venue ownership documents with both hands, and publicly announced to all the stunned people present in a loud and solemn tone. I solemnly announce to all guests and staff present today, Mr. Lu Chun is the sole founder, absolute controlling shareholder, and supreme boss of Harbor City High-End Catering Group. All Michelin luxury restaurants, five-star hotel catering departments, high-end private dining clubs, and top catering chains in Harbor City are 100% privately owned by Mr. Lu. Aurora Peak Michelin Restaurant, where we are located, is Mr. Lu's core flagship asset. All venue property rights, operating rights, chef employment rights, and service team management rights belong exclusively to M.Ard.Lu. Chef Andre, the restaurant manager, and all staff here are just employees hired by Mr. Lu to work in his private venue. All their salaries, bonuses, and reputation resources are provided by Mr. Lu. Mr. Lu's casual plain rice dining is just the boss's daily simple meal in his own private restaurant. No one has any qualification to question, mock, or insult him. These powerful and solemn words were like continuous thunderclaps exploding over everyone's heads, completely shattering all their superficial snobbish cognition and false status superiority. Everyone finally woke up completely. The low-class guest they ridiculed was the real catering tycoon standing at the top of the city's industry. The top Michelin chef they admired and flattered was just an ordinary employee working for me. The high-end dining venue they yearned for was just my private daily dining place. The industry blacklist used to threaten me was completely under my absolute control. I stood calmly in the center of the dining hall, my cold eyes slowly sweeping over the terrified and desperate Chef Andre and restaurant manager, and my powerful voice resounded throughout the silent venue. I wear ordinary clothes and order simple plain rice not because I am poor and low class, but because I disdain to use extravagant dining and luxury consumption to prove my identity. I invested billions of dollars to build these top high-end catering venues to provide equal and respectful dining services for every guest, not to let you snobbish employees divide customers by wealth and consumption, bully the low-key, and flatter the wealthy. You rely on my platform to gain fame and wealth, enjoy high salaries and superior status, but you forget your original intention of service, discriminate against ordinary customers, and insult my dignity wantonly. Your arrogance and snobbery are the dirtiest stains on the high-end catering industry. Food has no high or low grade, and customers have no distinction of status. True high-end catering lies in sincere service and professional craftsmanship, not superficial vanity and snobbish discrimination. Those who bully the weak and fawn on the strong, and insult others for trivial superiority, are never worthy of the respect of others. Every word was sonorous and powerful, hitting the hearts of everyone present hard, making the previous arrogance and ridicule of the chef and manager extremely embarrassing and ridiculous. #Zero mercy, thorough counterattack, and desperate final ending. After recovering from extreme shock and fear, Chef Andre completely collapsed mentally. He knelt heavily on the floor, kowtowed repeatedly in panic, tears streaming down his face, and begged for mercy hoarsely. "Boss Lu, I'm wrong. I'm blind and arrogant. I don't know your noble identity. I relied on your catering platform to gain a reputation and high salary, but I dared to insult you arrogantly and discriminate against ordinary guests. I'm extremely ungrateful and stupid. Please forgive my fault. Don't fire me and revoke my Michelin qualification. This is my whole life's career. I beg you." Chef Andre was scared out of his wits. He clearly knew that all his professional qualifications, industry reputation, and high salary job were given by my catering group. With a single word from me, I could completely ruin his career and make him disappear from the global catering industry forever. The restaurant manager also knelt down tremblingly, his face full of pale despair and regret. He kowtowed repeatedly and cried bitterly to beg for forgiveness. "Boss Lu, I'm guilty. I'm snobbish and derelict in my duty. I failed to manage the staff well, and even took the initiative to insult you and threaten to blacklist you. I have no face to continue holding the manager position. Please give me a chance to correct my mistakes." The surrounding waiters and kitchen staff who had mocked and looked down on me also knelt down one after another, their bodies trembling violently, full of endless shame and fear. They all knew that they had offended the supreme boss of the catering industry, and their jobs and future careers were completely hanging by a thread. I looked at the kneeling crowd indifferently, without the slightest pity in my eyes. Snobbery and dereliction of duty are never worthy of forgiveness. My low-key simplicity is my life attitude, not the capital for employees to trample on dignity and abuse power. I turned my eyes to President Sheen beside me and gave my cold and decisive order without any hesitation. First, immediately dismiss Chef Andre from his position as chief chef of Aurora Peak Restaurant. Permanently revoke all his cooking qualifications in all venues under my group. Completely blacklist him in the global catering industry. Cancel all his Michelin certification cooperation qualifications and make him completely unable to engage in any catering-related work for life. Second, immediately remove the current restaurant manager from his post. Deduct all his annual bonuses and benefits. Record his serious dereliction of duty and snobbish behavior in the industry credit file, and prohibit all catering groups and high-end venues from employing him for life. Third, conduct a comprehensive staff rectification of Aurora Peak Restaurant. Severely punish all snobbish waiters who discriminated against and mocked customers. Conduct mandatory professional ethics training for all staff, and dismiss all employees who fail the assessment. Fourth, comprehensively revise the service management rules of all high-end catering venues under the group. Strictly prohibit any staff from discriminating against customers according to clothing, consumption, and status. Implement equal high-quality service for all guests and zero tolerance for snobbish service behavior. Fifth, launch a citywide catering industry integrity and service rectification campaign. Take this incident as a permanent warning. Advocate sincere and equal service concepts. Completely eliminate the bad atmosphere of fawning on the wealthy and bullying the poor in the high-end catering circle, and purify the entire industry style. Sixth, open all high-end catering venues under the group to ordinary citizens appropriately. Launch affordable civilian meals on the premise of maintaining high service standards. Let high-end catering return to the essence of service, and break the superficial vanity prejudice of high-end dining only for the wealthy. Execute all orders immediately with zero delay. Yes, we will strictly implement all Boss Lou's instructions perfectly. President Sheen and all senior executives bowed respectfully and responded loudly, without the slightest hesitation. In an instant, Chef Andre completely lost his prestigious Michelin chef identity and high-salary job. His industry reputation was completely ruined. He was blocked by the global catering industry, and his decades of catering career was completely destroyed overnight. He fell from a respected top chef to a jobless person spurned by the entire industry, suffering endless regret and ridicule. The snobbish restaurant manager was completely dismissed and blacklisted, losing all his career development opportunities, and could only struggle at the bottom of the society ever after. All the mocking waiters were severely punished and retrained, completely abandoning their snobbish service attitude. The entire Aurora Peak Restaurant completely eliminated the arrogant and snobbish service atmosphere. All staff treated every guest equally and respectfully, regardless of identity and consumption, and the restaurant's word of mouth and service quality reached an unprecedented peak. All the elite dining guests present learned a profound lesson. They finally understood that real top tycoons are always low-key and humble, and only superficial and incompetent people rely on superficial consumption and status to distinguish others and show off their superiority. I glanced indifferently at the group of desperate and regretful people kneeling on the ground, turned around calmly, and left the luxurious Michelin restaurant quietly. All senior executives and restaurant staff stood respectfully on both sides to make way for me, full of endless awe and shame. Real wealth and status never need extravagant consumption and luxury packaging to prove. I hide my identity and live a simple life because I have already stood at the peak of the industry, overlooking all trivial vanity and snobbish prejudice in the world. All professions and services have no high or low grade, and every person and every simple choice deserves equal respect. Those who fawn on the wealthy and bully the lowly, judge others by superficial conditions, and insult others for trivial superiority will eventually be crushed by the real strength they can never touch and pay irreversible, painful prices for their ignorance and snobbery. Kindness has boundaries, and tolerance has bottom lines. My low-key simplicity is my choice of life, but never the capital for others to trample on my dignity arbitrarily. Anyone who is snobbish, arrogant, and ungrateful will surely bear all the bitter consequences of their own mistakes.